Hi, good evening, very warm welcome to you. It's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. You know what we're looking at is a very common scene around the world, and I suppose the elite would say it's not ironic seeing those combustion engine cars submerged in water. Probably they would think it's the best thing that could possibly happen to a car, as it emits CO2 into the atmosphere and therefore creates global warming and climate change. And it's so far from the truth, as you guys know if you've been following me for a short while. It's hypocrisy, it's a joke and laughable. You know, the evidence is down on the table, and yet they still blame everything that is going on in today's world on CO2. You know, all this CO2 ever did for our world was feed the vegetation that kept us alive, and now they're going after it. You know, if an alien species landed on this world and wanted to take us out, what we would say that is they are exterminating us. You know, there's no difference to what is happening right now. We are being exterminated, and I'm not joking, by these elite people with what they're doing. And you know, we're going to talk about this a little bit more in this video, but the main reason for doing this video right now is because I'm going to show you some evidence tomorrow of something that is becoming more common. It's a new anomaly, and I want to show you some evidence as to what is causing it. And this, I promise you, opens up a whole can of worms in a lot of different areas, and I'll explain about some of them, not all of them, some of them tomorrow in a video. The reason why I've put this video up today is because I want you to join me tomorrow. If you're an occasional visitor and you cop this, then make sure you don't miss tomorrow's video, because it knits a lot of pieces together and just proves what course we're on. Remember that. So please, for your own sakes, make sure you tune in tomorrow. The other thing I want to say is a huge thank you to a few people yesterday that chipped in a few books for our observatory. You know, I don't think many people, because of the world we live in, recognise honesty anymore. You know, we're not selling cups, we're not selling mugs, we're not selling t-shirts. We haven't got the advert revenue running, for Christ's sakes, on this channel. Do you not see that all I'm asking you to do is support the observatory? You know, we have 10,000 people view a video yesterday, and only a couple of those people out of that 10,000 people managed to chip in a few bucks. It saddens me deeply, because I'm putting in a lot of effort here. You know, I'm running the observatory, I'm making sure the electric's kept on for the equipment, because it runs 24 hours a day, every 3 seconds of the hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We take a reading of the magnetic North Pole position with our Trimag system. It's the only one in the world, and we relay that information to you guys, and you're going to find out just how important that information is tomorrow if you tune in and watch the video. But you know what, I just ask a few more people to step up, because we're running out of time. I'm going to just explain now some along another line that I've been talking about for a while, but mainly the important thing is that we try and generate a bit of revenue for the observatory, and you know, you tune in tomorrow. So I just want to say, you know, I've been talking about the gauntlet for a while, and I've described it, you know, I've been describing it for years as it's an obstacle course, the gauntlet is, and we're running through it. But over the years, coming up to the present day, we've been running much faster, because we're trying to keep up with the household bills, you know, things happening in climate, you know, government corruption around the world, wars, poverty, pandemics. And that's meant that we've had to, you know, increase our pace, you know, increase our ability to bring in the income, so that our kids, when we look at them in the eyes, and our, you know, our spouses, when we look at them in the eyes, they know we've put the meal on the table for them. You know, it may have taken 2 jobs to do that, but we've done it. But it's becoming impossible. And I want to tell you this. You know, an increase in energy costs is a kill shot for food. And as human beings, we can't do without food. We can do without Netflix, mobile phones, computers, cars, everything else. But there are about 3 main important things. We need oxygen, we need food, we need water. And that's the same for most biodiversities on our planet. You know, we live in a capital system which requires us to go and get a job. But the capital system no longer cares about the fact that technological advancements are taking the jobs away from us. You know, it's supply and demand. They've allowed the supply to run as high as it can in terms of labour, you know, and available labour, which means the price of labour has come right down. That's why a lot of us are on minimum wage. And that's why we have to go and do 2 jobs. That's why we hear about stories about a woman that was doing 2 jobs, sleeping 2 hours out of every 24, and she died of exhaustion. But I tell you now, we are being targeted for extinction, and it is no joke. You know, we might have looked at the Georgia Guidestones and said to ourselves, that will never happen. But it's happening right before our eyes. I mentioned the alien race coming to this world and being envious of our planet and wanting to rid us because they believe they're a better species because of their technological advancement and their lifestyle. If they started to target certain things, these aliens, we would know what the fuck was going on. We would know that they are trying to extinct us. Well, I'll tell you now, if I said it was aliens, you would say, Gene, you're a crackpot. Get real. Even though I could bring an argument to the table, I could say, look, the universe has so many stars in it, so many planets, and that means that there's so many planets like ours, so there must be life formed on there. If we only become technologically advanced in the last 60 years to the limit that we're at today, that means that a planet that has had technological advancement for 5,000 years perhaps has the ability to get here. But I'm not trying to tell you that aliens are here taking over us and making us extinct. I'm telling you that the elite rich fuckers in this world are doing it. The United Nations are doing it. And everything you see on the mainstream media is being blamed on climate change related to CO2 emitted by man, and it's a complete and utter lie, and I've put that down on the table so that you can see it time and time again. But you know what, we're still not even reaching more than 2% of the entire population of this earth. There is 8 billion souls on this earth, and they are oblivious to what is going on. They are sending us to war, killing each other, and what they will do is target the emotions of the bravest of us. Those are the brave that say to themselves, I will work for the military and I will be here to defend my country. Those are rare individuals, brave men and women, and they are targeting them right now. Let's just take the Ukraine war with Russia going on. There was over 100,000 people died, and probably more that the media won't even mention. You know what? It doesn't matter what you say or what you say about what I'm about, the quote I'm about to give, but it's true. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Yeah? And it just depends on what side of the fence you're on as to what view you have as yourself, whether you're a freedom fighter or a terrorist. Because if you're in someone else's country, you're claimed as a terrorist, but if you're there on the pretenses that you've been told you're there, it's for good reasons, then you're a freedom fighter. It's playing with people's minds. I was talking to a family member today, and I said, you know what, I'd love to do a video just on telling people to lay down their arms, stop killing each other, go back to your families. In fact, I even emphasised, I said, you know, through watching the news articles on mainstream media, one of the ones that stood out most to me was a Ukrainian soldier or I think he was a citizen actually, that had joined the territorial army in the Ukraine and was prepared to fight for his country. He was at the train station putting his wife and I think it was his 2-year-old son onto the train, and he was saying goodbye to him. His wife had tears in his eyes, and he was holding his son in his hands, and his son was slapping him on the face. And I know exactly what was going on there. I think I know what was going on. His son was saying, "Don't be stupid, Daddy. I need you in my life. You're about to go and fight this war, which doesn't mean any sense to anybody. And I'm going to miss you, and I know you're going to miss me." You know, when I watched that, it almost brought a tear to my eye, because I could see what the child was doing. How can the innocent children at 2 years old or thereabouts know these things? It's disgusting. I tell you now, energy hikes in prices is going to lead to a kill shot for food industries. Farmers, they're going after the farmers as well. And I just want to say this: do some research. You know, we all come from hunter-gatherer backgrounds at one point, but the thing that stopped us being hunter-gatherers was the thing that led us to be farmers. When we could grow ample amounts of cows, sheep, pigs, goats, chickens, eggs, you name it. That gave us available time, free time to do other things. That's when we started to become creative, create artworks and things like that. You know, started to be philosophers, talk about subjects like the stars and things like that. That's what took us out of that arena. When we was hunter-gatherers, we had no time to think. It was all about getting food. They're driving us back to that point, but I tell you, before they get us there, most of us won't even be here. Right now in Germany, they're collecting firewood because Putin's cut the gas off to Europe. Not completely. He's reduced it down to minimal amounts on the pretext that he's had to replace a turbine. You know as well as I know what's going on here. But I'll tell you now, in Germany, on a wide scale, and it's not just Germany, it's all over Europe that depend on that gas line, North Stream, whatever it is. What's happening is they're going out collecting firewood for the winter. This is the country, Germany is the country that produces our Mercedes-Benz, the Porsches, the Volkswagens, etc., etc. This isn't a third world country. You know, it's right up there in Europe. This isn't a fluke, a coincidence. This is directed. We have had pandemics, war, and now we are going into, you know, another recession. This is orchestrated, because what these three things do, and you only need one to trigger the other two off, it doesn't matter which way you move it round, it will trigger death. People will die. People have already died. People are saying to me, when's this going to start happening then, Gene? It happened 10 years ago. It's just increasing now. That's why we're seeing it more and more. You know, somebody accused me yesterday of frightening you. Frightening people. Stop frightening people. I want you to wake up and see what's happening in your world. Because this is the world where your children are living. And the legacy is not pretty. We're seeing the same behaviours that we saw in all the empire failures. And it does not go down well for the inhabitants of that time. And right now there has never been so many inhabitants as what there is now. There has never been so many turncoats that are turning the back on humanity right now so that they can just wax their fucking pockets even richer than what they are already. It's shameful to be classed as a human being to witness what is going on right now, because it's nothing short of an extermination of human beings, and it doesn't need to happen. These energy companies have put the prices up to the point where they've boasted, even at the time of crisis for a lot of people where they can't even afford to put the fuel in the house to put the heating on or the electric. Now they can't even put the food in the fridge. Where are we going to end up? But they have boasted that they have made more profits than they know what to do with. And our governments have sat by idly doing nothing and allowing it to happen. You know, you probably haven't got the foresight to understand where this is going. I'm not trying to frighten you. I'm just putting your cards down on the table, and you've got dealt the hand that you've got, the same as me. And it's crap. And it ain't going to get no better, because these energy companies, if you've noticed, and these fuel stations never do put the prices down. Never ever do. If the energy costs go up, people lose lives. Remember this. Energy is a kill shot for food. Remember those words. Energy is a kill shot for food. It's something you're going to hear a lot more of. That same sentence. Energy is a kill shot for food. And if you kill the food off, you kill human beings off. We are looking at a disaster. This is an extermination of our kind, and it's been orchestrated by the very rich and elite. You know, look no further than the United Nations, excuse me, because they seem to be the leaders of this climate change, global warming, CO2 hysteria. There's not even a peer-reviewed paper on it. It's sickening, saddening, and we are here today. For a lot of us, the train is even closer than it was, down in the horizon. People aren't working together. You know, if you just do a little bit of research, have a look what's going on in the world. This isn't just related to America, Canada, England, Europe, you know, Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, you know, South Americas, China. It's happening everywhere, in every single country. The biggest and best distraction is war, pandemics, and recessions. Guys, I'm asking for your help again. You know, I know if I don't ask, I don't get no help. It's as simple as that. That's why, you know, every video I have to do this. It's sad. We're losing the game here right now because of the lack of funds, sadly. We could do a lot more if we had a lot more. It's always been the way. But that's the case. You know, another 2 or 3 people might chip in a few bucks later on, and that'll be it for this video. Yeah, there's a strong message here. You know, you are as strong as your neighbour, and your neighbour is as strong as his neighbour, and that leads to a small community being strong, and a small town being strong, and a small province being strong, and then a small country being strong. And it goes up like that. Right now, it's a disaster. Georgia Guidestone said they wanted to reduce the world's population down to 500 million. That is a massive haircut from 8 billion. Massive. And we need to pick up our pace right now, because we are being clearly exterminated. Do you understand that? You kill the food off, you kill people off. If the energy goes through the roof, there is no food. Simple as that. If you want to kill off farmers, you know, kill that industry off, then we're back to the Stone Age. That means we can't even think. Do you understand that? That is the final step. When that happens, and they're doing it now, when that single thing happens and they kill the farming industry off, we might as well let them put the fucking sword to our throat, because it will put us out of our miseries. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Guys, there's a link down there if you want to help support what we're doing here. And God, I pray you do. Say what I usually do. You take care of your loved ones. As always, bye for now.